thì vui lòng giơ tay để con được biết ạ. Mọi người bên tiếng Việt có nghe được không ạ?
Nghe tốt chị.
Chị Xuân Lan hôm nay có câu hỏi nào không chị Xuân Lan?
Dạ. Chị chị để cho mọi người hỏi đi Tâm, nếu không có câu hỏi thì chị xin hỏi Tâm.
Dạ em chưa thấy ai giơ tay, nên nếu chị có câu hỏi thì chị có thể bắt đầu ạ. Để em sẽ chào Ajahn, xong sau đấy chị bắt đầu nhé.
Very nice to see Xuân Lan. We haven't seen her for quite some time. Hello, Xuân Lan.
Ajahn.
Dạ, con cảm ơn cô Sarah. Con kính chào Ajahn. Con kính chào ông John, kính chào Sarah. Con có một câu hỏi là khi mà chúng con trao đổi với nhau giữa bạn đạo với nhau đó, thường con hay dùng cái cụm từ là pháp do duyên mà. Thì khi chúng con trao đổi như vậy thì có một đạo hữu nói là đó chỉ là khẩu hiệu, nói giống như là một cái khẩu hiệu, một cái từ ngữ, mặc dù đó chỉ là ở cái mức độ tư duy, tức là mình chỉ lặp lại những cái từ ngữ đó, nhưng mà khi mà mình lặp lại cái từ ngữ đó, tức là mình cũng đã có một chút suy xét là pháp chỉ do duyên thôi, mình không có thể có một cái ngã nào có thể điều khiển được hết. Con nghĩ ở một cái chừng mực là hiểu tư duy, nhưng nó cũng vẫn có lợi cho cái người mà cho chúng con khi mà trao đổi. Thì con muốn đưa cái chủ đề này ra để cho Ajahn, ông bà John Sarah có thể giảng dạy thêm cho chúng con ạ. Dạ, con cảm ơn ạ.
Dạ, cảm ơn chị Xuân Lan. Ajahn, are you there? Maybe Ajahn is not here yet. Kun M, would you please connect us with Ajahn? And let us know when she's there. So maybe we can and start with the question from Xuân Lan, and then when Ajahn comes in, we can let her know again about the question. So the question is, she said that usually in our discussion, I say sometimes it's by condition, and it can happen that I repeat it many times. And some other people say to me that the way I say it is just like a slogan, just speaking words without any understanding. But in her opinion, even though there might be just intellectual understanding, she thinks that it's still helpful, and there's still some little understanding when saying that. So do you have any comments on this point?
The truth is that no one else can know, only the panya can know at the time. A parrot could repeat by conditions. A small child can repeat by conditions with no understanding at all. But like you say, perhaps when you say it, it's like a reminder that the seeing now, the hearing now, the thinking doesn't arise by my wish or my control, but it's by different conditions. So it just depends on the citta at the moment, not what the other thinks. Some may think that what you're saying is completely wrong, that there is a self that controls. So it's not important whether other people think it's kusala or akusala with panya or without panya, when the panya itself can know and be confident in what is true and what is right. But of course, it's not enough just to say by conditions. It can even be an excuse. We were on a trip in Poland and a friend would arrive late and not be organized. And he'd say, oh, it's by conditions, anatta. And Ajahn would remind him, this is just using anatta as an excuse to behave badly or something like this. So it has to be more than just by conditions. We have to consider what is true now, seeing now, how is seeing conditioned to arise, and what is the reality of seeing to really appreciate that it's a Dhamma not arising by anyone's will or wish. And Tam, I just saw a note at the bottom asking us to check Ajahn now. Perhaps we should just
Ajahn?
ask if she's here.
Ajahn, are you there? Can you hear us? We still don't hear anything from Ajahn Kun Em. Shall I say once more again, Ajahn? Can you hear us?
We better continue for a little while and then try again.
Yes, yes.
So, Sun Lan, when you say by conditions, what exactly do you mean? What are you referring to?
Dạ, thưa cô Sarah, khi mà dùng cái từ là pháp do duyên sanh thì lúc đó con nghĩ là đủ duyên thì pháp nó sanh khởi. Mình không có ai có thể điều khiển hay có thể kiểm soát gì được pháp đó hết. Thì ý của con là vậy ạ.
So when I say Dhamma is by condition, I mean that Dhamma arise by conditions. No one can make them to arise. No one can control them. That is what I mean.
And so perhaps the listeners need to know what is Dhamma, because if we say to some newcomers, oh, Dhammas arise by conditions, no, we cannot control them, but they don't know what are Dhammas. They don't know what Dhamma is now. So conditions, not just us telling them, oh, it's by conditions. What is Dhamma now? What is Dhamma that is conditioned now?
Dạ. Pháp bây giờ là cái thực tại đang diễn ra ở ngay cái khoảnh khắc thực tại ạ. Chẳng hạn như bây giờ con đang nghe thì pháp bây giờ là nghe ạ. Là âm thanh ạ.
So at this moment that I am hearing, Dhamma is hearing and the sound which is heard.
So now we think it's I that hear, but it's just hearing. And how is hearing conditioned to arise?
Ajahn,
Dạ. Âm thanh được nghe bởi cái nghe ạ. Và dĩ nhiên là phải có nhị thức, phải có nhĩ căn nữa.
So there has to be the ear sense and the ear consciousness which hears sound.
So I think when we discuss and we say by conditions, we have to give examples and explain in detail what hearing is and why it's not an eye, no eye to be found that hears, and explain a little about these conditions. Otherwise, if someone just hears by conditions, it may not mean much to them. I think we're asked to check again. Ajahn, are you here now?
Yes, I'm here now.
Okay, Sawadika, Ajahn. Yes.
Sawadika. Xin chào everyone.
Xin chào.
Xin chào.
I just quickly explain Ajahn Sujin, the kind lady who has made so many beautiful clothes for us. She asked a question. Her question was that often in discussions, she says that whatever arises by conditions, but other people say it's like just repeating a slogan without any understanding. But in her opinion, when she says it, there may be a little intellectual understanding. So we discussed this topic a little bit.
Yes, it's the hearing now.
Yeah, yes, Ajahn.
Who makes it arise?
Dạ, không có ai hết à, Ajahn.
No one, Ajahn.
No one. That's why there must be condition for its arising. Because before hearing, there's no hearing. How come to be hearing?
Dạ, theo con hiểu đó thì để có cái nghe đó là do nghiệp, Ajahn.
According to my understanding, hearing is conditioned by karma.
Yes, for sure. Without karma as condition, it cannot arise at all. But it needs other conditions as well, because karma condition birth moment, not hearing it. That's why there must be other conditions to make it, to condition its arising. Is that right? Otherwise, who makes it arise?
Yeah, yes.
Said yes, Ajahn. Please
And
go
who
on.
can condition birth moment to arise? Seeing, hearing, smelling, any moment, who make it arise? While seeing is not hearing. What condition it to be different? Or who makes it to be different?
Karma, nghiệp, Ajahn.
It's karma which makes it different.
Okay, what is karma? It's easy to say it's karma, but what is karma?
Dạ, nghiệp là những cái hành vi, những cái hành động mà thiện hoặc là bất thiện từ quá khứ, Ajahn.
Karma is the kusala or akusala deeds from the past.
Without karma, can there be birth consciousness and seeing and hearing?
Yeah, no, Ajahn.
So we understand little by little about what condition what to arise. Is that right? Like birth consciousness, it must have karma, wholesome karma or unwholesome karma, to condition the unwholesome vipaka or unwholesome vipaka to perform the function of arising the first moment in life, birth consciousness. Are they all Dhammas?
Dạ, yes, Ajahn.
Can they arise at will or by itself, each one?
Dạ, no, Ajahn.
So now we are learning about realities. All Dhammas are anatta. It cannot be taken for anything or anyone because it is conditioned to arise and fall away, never to return, never to arise again. Is that true? Just learn to understand the truth of each moment in life, to understand that it is Dhamma, the reality, which is there by conditions, arising and falling again, from the first moment to the last moment, and the next moment again, on and on to last moment of next life again. Nothing can arise without conditions, the proper conditions for whatever arises. The eye cannot condition hearing. Sound cannot condition seeing. All by conditions. A little more understanding of this moment and the other moment, to let go the idea of I see, I hear, I like, or I in one's life. In truth, just the way Dhamma is conditioned, arising and falling away, one moment to another moment, on and on, non-stop. As long as there are conditions for whatever arises, it arises. Right now, no one can stop the seeing, the hearing, the thinking to arise at all by conditions. Each one is different by conditions, even seeing pleasant thing by condition, different moment from seeing and pleasant thing, also by conditions. No one can stop living. Life goes on and on and on. When there are conditions for whatever arises, it arises. It, not I or anyone or anything at all. Only a reality, different by conditions, now arising and falling away, different moments, different ones. Hearing is not seeing by conditions. Thinking is not moment when there's sleeping. Is it true?
Dạ, yes, Ajahn.
So now begins to have more confidence of the truth. Dhamma is Dhamma. No one there. They are anatta. Just appear and then disappear. Not as it is. Illusion. No rose at all. But it looks like a rose. How come? Illusion. Not separate moment of seeing with other moment, unknown, on and on and on. Many things are there. At moment of seeing, different things. In truth, just one moment of seeing, and what is seen cannot be taken for anything at all. Is that true?
Dạ, đúng
Learn,
Ajahn.
learn to be truthful to the truth, to realize the truth, not to forget it. That can be more confident of whatever is there. Learn to understand the nature of that, which usually is taken for something, but in truth, the visible object cannot be anything at all. It appears and disappears, and is seen only the moment of seeing. can see it. So now it seems like there is seeing all the time, but in truth, not all the time at all. Illusion again. Is it better to understand the truth, to begin to let go the idea which takes what is there as something, in truth is gone forever, sunyata, never come back, never to return, never to arise again. And then the moment of death is there. Forget everything in this life, just like yesterday. It's forgotten now. Do you remember yesterday? Happenings, experiencing, to understand what moment is there, which is usually taken for I was there or somewhere yesterday. But in truth, it's only moment of thinking about that which has been experienced by conditions, while not thinking about other things. Each moment can be learned that no one can make anything arise at all, no matter seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, smiling, thinking, talking, touching, each moment in life. Ignorance is there. Attachment at moment, whatever appears unknown as the truth of it, is that it's not there anymore, even right now. That's why Buddha taught about what he had enlightened after a long period, years and years of developing right understanding, to realize the nature of what is there as it is right now or any time. Dhamma is Dhamma. Seeing just arises by conditions to see, only to see and then gone. The other moment is not seeing, but it's conditioned by seeing, experiencing the same object as seeing, but it does not see. And how can it experience the same object as seeing without seeing? See, by conditions. Vitakka is there, arising together with that moment next to seeing, to touch the object, experience it, and then gone. Just receiving or experience that object which is not seen but can be object of moment of touching and other jitasikas. Who knows? But begin to understand by the one who had realized the truth, so that there can be a moment of listening, carefully considering. The realization of the truth is so far from now, because it has to be learned to gradually understand the nature of each one as not permanent, not the same one at all. So what are there in life taken for something, or people and things, has to be known its nature as no one at all. In a day, Otherwise, when there's no understanding, it's taken already for someone and something, like now. Kun Sarah, see, Kun Tam, Kun Han, Kun Ha, see, someone there. But after understanding the moment of seeing, different from moment of experiencing the object by way of nimitta, illusion, taking it for something permanent, like now. What is true and what is not true. Learn to understand the deep and very, very subtle reality of just what is there is experienced as usual, to learn about the truth of each different ones. What we take for flower and bed and curtain, without that which appear to the seeing, can there be the shape and form and the idea of something, some event? What happens in life by seeing, thinking, so many different realities unknown in a moment. And that can be known. To condition confidence of the truth is there as it is, not anyone. Seeing, we use the word seeing. So seeing is conditioned to arise and can gone. Is that true? Yesterday seeing, just a moment seeing, and even right now is not seeing at previous moment. Is that true? Now, what arises falls away on and on, to be yesterday when tomorrow comes. All gone, unknown when it's there. But when it's gone, like yesterday, it's known that no yesterday now. But what about when yesterday was yesterday? It seems real, it seems permanent, but in truth, when today comes, where's yesterday? The citta yesterday, that's like now, but not the same. Different ones, different conditions. But the condition for whatever arises to see has to be the same, but not the same as it is. Yesterday is not today. All gone yesterday. What is left now from yesterday? So, what is left now from that just a moment ago? What is left? In truth. So, what appears now without understanding does not appear well at all, because it appears as something permanent. Seeing now, it does not appear that it's gone, and the next moment, who knows, before seeing can arise again. But it seems that there's seeing all the time. What about the citta before seeing and after seeing? So we learn to understand what are there in life. Today, one day, and on, tomorrow, on and on. Illusion or understanding. Can two moments arise together? See? It can be a little more confident. One moment is not two moments together at all. Seeing cannot arise to hear too. Impossible. Seeing is seeing. Hearing is hearing. At moment of hearing, there must be no seeing. Different conditions for seeing and hearing. So nothing can arise just by what idea of I can do. So can you open your eyes? Can you stretch your hand? Can you think? Can you like? Can you dislike?
Dạ no Ajahn.
Beginning to understand more and more about Dhamma and Anatta. All Dhammas come to be as they are. No one, no thing, only Dhammas, realities. All Dhammas are Anatta. Can the truth be realized? Because now that it's seeing, can it be realized, its nature, as what it really is? The reality, which has no shape, form, sound, or anything at all, but it's the experiencing. Even the object is unknown, and then the object is known because that is that which impinges on the base, whether it's the eye base or ear base, as is the reality which experiences the object. It experiences that which impinges on the base as eye base. Seeing is there instantly. But after that, when that which impinges on the eye base fallen away, how can it see? Impossible. But a condition for its arising, the karma is there, see? That's why we learn to understand the truth of what is there. Little by little, what is what is what, to understand what is karma and what is intention or what is attention or what is interest and so on. All are there in one's life. Without the words of the enlightened one, how can there be even thinking about it as it is? Because it appears as something all the time. The truth is covered up by ignorance and attachment. But it can be realized when Panya is there, gradually understanding the truth little by little until it's more in a day, not thinking about what is usually thought about, but sometimes about that which is heard about the truth of this moment, no matter it is attachment or seeing or feeling or memory, they are all there unknown. But when there is hearing about the truth, there can be moment of developing understanding of each reality as it is different ones by conditions, not permanent at all. Even it's for that which arises falls away, as long as a condition for whatever arises. There is the moment of that which arises after that moment, on and on and on. Experiences different objects with different moments in daily life, as sometimes we like this food, we search for it, we read the newspaper, watch TV, and so on, all by conditions, all are Dhammas. And this is the only way, the only path, leading, developing to realize what is there now, not at the moment. Are we talking about Dhamma? Are we talking about daily life? Are we talking about this moment to be understood gradually? So, right considering, careful considering, wise considering can condition more confidence of the truth. Otherwise, how come to be me the understanding of the truth of this moment and what is there in life? This life go on without any understanding of the truth. More ignorance and clinging to whatever is there, on and on and on. By conditions, see? That's why it's the meaning of Sankhara-Dhamma, the Dhamma which is conditioned to arise, falls away instantly. Sankhara-Dhamma, or Sankhara-Dhamma are dukkha, anicca, dukkha, and anatta. Beginning to understand the meaning of the word of reality. Dhamma, Sankhara-Dhamma, anatta, anicca, dukkha. No one at all. Until the reality appears well to panya, developing on and on to realize the truth. It's there at moment of arising and no more when it's gone, and the next one is there, different from the other one which passed. Is that true? And understanding can condition more and more wholesome moments. Understanding that life is so short, life is not permanent. Death and birth, next life, can be at any time by conditions. No one can stop it. When condition is ready, it's there. Whatever is now is that which is ready, conditioned. Can that be the answer for your question?
Dạ, dạ con cảm ơn Ajahn, cảm ơn ông bà John Sara. Con như vậy là con đã hiểu hơn rồi Ajahn.
Yes, thank you, Ajahn. Thank you, Sarah. I have a little more understanding better. Thank you.
One other point to add is, as we know, it all comes back to this moment. And usually in a day, we're very susceptible. We mind very much about the worldly conditions: praise, blame, gain, loss, good health, poor health, and so on. So what about the citta now when someone says, oh, we're just repeating words like a mantra, or what we say is not correct? It's not a matter of whether they are right or not right. But what about the citta now when we hear and think about these words? Is there disappointment? Is there taking it personally? Why do I have to hear this? Or is there any understanding even now, even at that moment? It's just sounds that are heard and thinking about the sounds, thinking about the meaning. So the problem is never actually what the others say. It always comes back to the citta now, the wise reflection or the unwise reflection at this moment. So even here and now, when some disagree with what we say, is there any understanding? Is there any metta? Is the citta kusala or akusala? So it's always the citta here and now that can be understood, not the others. Otherwise, when we take it personally, oh, why are they criticizing what I'm saying? I'm sure that there is some understanding when I speak. It's just clinging again to self, clinging to what I'm hearing, what they're saying, this one and that one. And this is how arguments develop. But actually, they're just different dharmas arising and falling away. Who knows a moment ago whether there was any understanding? It's gone anyway. What about now? What about the citta at this moment? Like even when listening to Ajahn, moments of wise considering, moments of unwise considering, moments of thinking of many other things, moments of seeing, moments of hearing. What about the Dhamma? What about what appears now? So it has to come back to this moment, to life now. And when we just say or think, oh, whatever arises is by conditions, because the clinging to I, the clinging to someone, the clinging to something is so deep-rooted, we have to actually consider and reflect on the different details, different conditions, in order to really begin to appreciate that it really is just sound that is heard. It really is just visible object that's seen. So this is why the discussion and the questioning, as you are doing, is very important, to learn a little more detail, a little more. Some people think, oh, the first time I listened to Ajahn, everything was clear and it was enough. Yes, I know there's seeing now. I know there's hearing. I know that what arises is by conditions. No need to hear anymore. But the Buddha taught for a very long time in a lot of detail, because for all of us today, we need to hear and consider and reflect on a lot of detail. Not once, but again and again and again. We have to consider different kinds of conditions, different kinds of realities and how they arise, because the idea of someone, something is so strong. I think last week we were talking about sanya and how what is seen is just like a dot, but so quickly. There is the idea of someone there, something, what was said to me by someone, and so on. So the memory of what is seen and heard conditions the thinking and the taking for things and people so quickly. This is why there has to be a lot of careful considering. So I'm very glad to see you back again, Sun Lan, and to hear your questions.
Dạ, con cảm ơn cô Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah. Yes, that reminds me of the topic of our recent discussion based on an observation by one of our friends that many teachers also say things that are similar. They say that there's no one there, nothing to do, and it's everything is just true experience and so on. But unless there is understanding of what is meant by no one there, unless there are understanding in details about the Dhamma that the Buddha taught, then these words cannot come from.
Everyone agrees there's just this moment, and there has to be the understanding of experiencing in the moment. All our friends would say the same, but it's meaningless without understanding about what is reality now, what is Dhamma now. Or anyone who has opened a Buddhist book will agree, oh yes, there's no self, but still what is seen is taken for something. Still there is the idea that there is a body here that is touched, and still there is the idea that one should do something to practice. One should try to concentrate first, or have good morality first. And they say, because it's too difficult to understand Dhammas as anatta, so you have to practice and do something in the beginning. But there's no appreciation that the wrong path cannot lead to the right path. So this is why we have to hear a lot about different realities and how they are conditioned.
And I see there's a question sent online by our friend Long. I think he's not in the Zoom, but he's listening probably through YouTube. And his question is about Uttapa, Hiri and Uttapa, whether they can arise with Somanassa, because Hiri is the shame of Kosala, and Uttapa is the fear of Akusala. So can they arise with Somanassa? That is his question.
So Hiri and Ottappa are wholesome factors, sobana factors, beautiful factors. So they arise with all kusala cittas. So what about when there's understanding now? Is there any pleasant feeling? Is there any somanassa? What about when there's metta, kindness, helping the others? Is there pleasant feelings, somanassa? What about when one pays respect to one's elders? For example, in Australia, it's Mother's Day, when one reflects about the good virtues of one's mother, for example. Somanassa, pleasant feeling. So Hiri and Ottappa have to arise with every moment of kusala. So moments of kusala must be either with pleasant feeling or neutral feeling, but usually with pleasant feeling. So this is the answer. Like now, listening to the Dhamma, reflecting on the truth about how there are just Dhammas now arising and falling away, no one there to control or do anything. What kind of feeling is there? Usually pleasant when it's understanding. Hiri and Ottappa at those moments protect from akusala. That's the appreciation of what is right in life. Shame of akusala arising.
Yes, I think probably he's thinking about the word like fear or shame, and that's what makes he wonder. But he's not
Yes.
here to...
Yes. The words, the translation terms are just very approximate, and it's a bit like when people talk about the understanding of fear or the understanding of danger, and it seems like this is something terrible or shocking. But when it's understanding, it's kusala, it's understanding the fearfulness of dhammas, and in this case, the fearfulness, the shame of unwholesomeness, but no fear arising at those moments. It's just understanding the harmfulness of akusala, like when one gets angry or is so attached to what one eats or sees or hears. It's actually shameful, but it's to understand, to appreciate the value of kusala and the harm of akusala is joyful, is pleasant. No fear at those moments, no unwholesome shame at those moments. So that's why we have to consider the dhammas in a little more detail and reflect a little bit more and not be misled by translation terms, because it's difficult to find the right meaning. And in a discussion this morning, Ajahn was reminding everyone that in the end, it's not about the words, it's just understanding what appears now, understanding more about the truth, about the reality. At the end of this life, all the words in Vietnamese for you or English for us will all be forgotten and lost, so unimportant. But what about now? Is there any appreciation of the shamefulness of speaking badly or of having strong attachment or being so lost in the story of I and just what I would like? Or is there some appreciation, some understanding, some kindness now? So Manasa, usually with moments of kusala, with understanding, even when it's a moment of compassion, when someone is sick, like Jonathan is sick, from my side, lots of attachment and lots of sadness when it's not the way we would like it to be. But what about moments of kindness? What about moments of compassion? When it's compassion and showing sympathy, no sadness at those times, pleasant feeling when there is kindness and compassion most of the time. So gradually one can begin to appreciate the difference between different kinds of dhammas, the difference between sadness and compassion, between attachment and metta, and so on. I'm glad to hear Mr. Lam's question. I remember Mr. Lam.
Not here, so I don't know whether you have any follow-up question.
Maybe Ajahn would like to add more as well on this topic.
When you use the word shame, what is that?
Questioner is not here.
Anyone?
I try to help. I try to be him. So shame is usually we feel some negative feeling.
Unpleasant moment or pleasant moment?
Usually we think of unpleasant moment. Yeah.
That's the way we talk about, use the word for, but the truth, the reality is far from any word at all, because there must be considering about the nature of the truth of what is there. For example, the cloth is clean, but when someone put something on it, when it's black, some might not like it, but when it's other color, someone might like it to be painted with such color. But thinking about when there's nothing there, only clean cloth, no dot, no color, no dirtiness at all. And the moment when it's there with dots, black dot or blue or ugly dots, and at the same time, different pleasant color is there as rose and sky and mountain and so on, how can that be the moment of understanding the difference between what is there? See? So when we use the word shame, something has been done or something that is very shameful. So at that moment, it is akusala, isn't it? Unpleasant moment. Oh, would you like to be ashamed? So it's different from the daily use of shame when we use the word shame. But shame, which is wholesome, is seeing the dirtiness as it's dirty, it's not clean. No matter what is there, black or pink, it doesn't matter, it's not clean. That's why when we talk about the reality, which is wholesome, it is wholesome because it doesn't want to get closer to any dirtiness, lie, stealing, and so on. Shame, until shame of being ignorant and being attached to no matter what, even so very pleasant. That's why learn to understand the difference between wholesomeness and unwholesomeness. Kusala is quite different from akusala. So at moment of akusala, enjoying watching TV or the movies, the plays, is that shame at that moment? Because at moment of akusala, that's why without right understanding, which sees the difference between akusala and kusala, it's the moment of shame not to understand the truth and so on. It's a reality which is there together with the other wholesome mental factors, cetasikas. But it's there at any moment of wholesomeness because it sees the disadvantage or whatever is there as so pleasant that actually it harms the chitta. It tainted the chitta to not be clean. That's why we wash away or dirtiness or what is there that should be cleaned up. Ignorance is there more and more pleasant, more enjoyment, and so on. Or it's only that which arises and gone. That's why there have to be right understanding of the truth, the root of all, not ignorance anymore, taking that for I or someone or something, object of clinging. That's why without the teachings of the truth from the enlightened one, how can there be the understanding of moments of kusala and moments of akusala? To condition shame to be akusala. Little by little, at moment of kusala, who knows that it's not I, but there are several wholesome realities arising together, performing the moment not to be akusala. That's why learn to understand the truth of each reality as it is, that they are all conditioned. Without understanding more and more, there can never be the moment of letting go, the pleasure or what is there so pleasant to be attached to. It's so deep that even Sotapanna cannot let it go to eradicate it yet. Until the panya is higher and higher and higher. So even the shame, kiri, and otapa has to be stage by stage. So now, at moment of hearing, understanding is so very precious to begin, even just to begin to understand the truth that can be learned and developed on and on, more and more, less and less ignorance. And that is shame not to be ignorant anymore. seem to be any kind of akusla. That's why it has to arise with each wholesome citta. Unknowingly, what are there? It seems like I do not drink, I do not kill, I do not lie. But what is there? It's not anyone, but it's shame of doing so. Depending on how much understanding, until it's shame of ignorance and akusla after seeing, hearing, smelling, and so on, as usual when panya develops more. So learn to understand what is wholesome cetasika or unwholesome cetasika, different ones, hiri and otappa and so on are wholesome. And moha, see, hirika and otappa are unwholesome, no one at all. And all depends on upa nisyapajya. It's there more and more and more until it's habits. The more we learn about the truth, the more letting go. Gradually, they cling to the self and something, atta. Is there shame now? A little more? Not to understand what is there now. So it's there to be known a little more, until less and less ignorance and attachment gradually, so very gradually, little by little, stage by stage, of right understanding and other wholesome cetasikas. So without hiri and otappa, can there be wholesome citta? Yes, please.
No, I just answered your question. Without hiri and uttapa, they cannot be wholesome citta.
And only two kinds of wholesome cetasika, not enough at all. It needs more conditions to be a moment of wholesome kusala. What else? See, Sopanasatharana cetasika, 19 cetasikas. Learn to understand the moment of kusala as without the teachings is still my wholesome moment, deep. In truth, they are all gone. No matter what level of reality, not anyone at all. Otherwise, there cannot be letting go. The idea of I or mine or me.
That's helpful when you explain about hiri, seeing the difference between kusala and kusala, seeing the dirtiness of kusala.
Is
And
how atta or expectation.
no,
Is it not expectation or clinging? How? Why how? Ignorance and attachment is there. Ahirika anotapa is also there. not being ashamed of the truth that nothing can be done by anyone at all. The way Dhamma is Dhammata. At that moment, no shame, right? Just want to know how. No shame to understand a little more. Actually, there can never be anyone who can do anything to know how. Deeper and deeper in a day.
What about Ottappa, Ajahn? Can you say a little more about Ottappa?
Is that which is danger, not danger?
Yes.
Ottappa. See the danger of akusala. It's added each moment of seeing, hearing, smelling. So dangerous. The more attachment, how can it be letting go? So there are moments of ahirika and notappa in the day, unknown all the time. That's why Buddha taught about the truth of the difference between hiri ottappa and ahirika anotappa. That actually there's no one, but there are two different realities. They are there
Usually,
by condition. Sorry, what are you going to say?
no, I'm sorry I was going to say usually after akusala arises, that is obvious, evident. For example, one speaks sharply and it's so quickly taken for my akusala, and usually one feels shame, as we say conventionally, or regret. Akusala chittas with dosa, thinking about the akusala, and at those moments there's no hiri, no ottappa at all. So appreciating the danger of akusala and the shamefulness of it is the opposite of what we're used to thinking of as having regret or being ashamed of our bad behavior, something like that. So when we're ashamed of the bad behavior, it's just more and more akusala, more and more clinging to I with unpleasant feeling. But when there is the understanding of akusala, understanding the danger of it, the shamefulness of it, at those moments with understanding, it's not unpleasant at all. It's a joy to appreciate the truth, and they're just dhammas that arise and fall away. Like even now, moments of clinging, thinking of the friends and the pictures, or thinking of some other topics, clinging to what's seen and heard. But there can be appreciation of how all this akusala that's being accumulated, the attachment and ignorance, is actually harmful. It's fearful, it's shameful, but pleasant feeling when there is that letting go for a moment with understanding. So it's here and now. But when lost in the story with clinging, no hiri and ottappa at those moments, ahirika and ottappa, not appreciating anything about the harm of clinging at those moments, even when it's with pleasant feeling. So pleasant feeling can be with kusala, with hiri and ottappa, or with akusala, with attachment, ahirika and ottappa.
Dhamma very subtle.
Yes. And this is why, as I was mentioning earlier, it has to be a little more considering. One has to understand a little deeper, a little deeper. Now it's just touching the surface, but to really appreciate that these are dhammas that are anatta, not my shame, not my kusala, not my akusala. It takes a lot of careful considering and reflecting about when and how different dhammas arise, what is the feeling, and like in the question, why, how there can be pleasant feeling when there's the understanding of the danger and fearfulness of dhammas. Because otherwise there's so much misunderstanding. One just hears the word fear or shame and assumes it's something negative. We can't really find the right words in our languages. That's why there has to be a little more understanding of the characteristic, the nature of different dhammas.
And I think that even in the local language, without understanding these words can be mistaken as well. That's why the Buddha was born and taught the Dhamma, because the language was there, but there was no understanding.
And even if one's a Pali expert or scholar, it doesn't mean there's any understanding of the actual realities here and now. So it has to come back to the understanding of life now. And we just use words we can in our language as best we can to help to consider and understand, that's all.
I'm thinking about another point that was raised in discussion with our friends in Australia. Because in the discussion we were talking about how important to have the understanding of what is the right path. And one of our friends also said that, yes, that is very important. But in life, we are usually carried away by many kusala, and we follow our desires, and we go on partying, on many other things. And sometimes it may happen that we go on meditation retreat. But as long as we know that these meditation retreats are just for example, sleeping better, for example, not the path, then it's okay. Nothing wrong with that. I would like to hear your comments on this particular point. Thank you.
I think that when it's the right path, we think less and less about the different situations and the different stories. And there's more and more firm confidence that at any time, at any place, there are just dhammas arising and falling away, as we've discussed. So no, in truth, no we to be carried away, no we to party, no we to go here or there. Just different moments of seeing and hearing and thinking and so on. So the more confidence, the less one thinks about a certain place as preferable. For example, on the retreat, why does one go there? Is it just to sleep better? If it's just to sleep better, okay, one can just go to any holiday resort, or one can do anything. But is one being truthful? Is there still an idea of a technique, a practice, some way to shortcut to get a better personality or a desired result quicker? So it all comes back to this moment. But the more confidence, the more understanding, the less one thinks of a certain place, certain time for understanding, because one appreciates it has to be here and now, and no I that can follow or do anything at all. Perhaps Ajahn would like to add more comments too.
It needs very true, very truly discussion for those who think about meditation center, or go somewhere to meditate, or even now meditate. What's right and what's wrong? What is meant by meditation? When there's no understanding, should anyone follow? Because it brings more and more ignorance and attachment. Because when it's not understanding, it is what? Ignorance and attachment for sure. So it's not just thinking about the word to meditate, but what is it? And what is the goal? Is it understanding the truth of what is there? Or wrong understanding that the truth right now cannot be realized? That's why one goes away. So what is right and what is wrong? Even the word meditate or meditation. Right understanding can understand the truth of what is there. But meditation, can it understand what is there as it is?
Of course.
Please go on.
Yes, as soon as there's the idea of someone doing something who's not understanding the moment of wrong view of self.
That's why Buddha taught about understanding the truth of what is there every moment to be known. No other way at all. That's why Buddha said it's only one way, sammaditthi, right understanding of the truth. With other cetasikas as a path together. So what about samma sankappa? Meditating?
Nothing is meditating there in the double eightfold path.
So is it the teaching of the Buddha to be truthful to the truth? Otherwise, it's akusala, which is not truthful to the truth. Hiri Ottappa or Ahirika Anuttappa. Learn a little more about what are the conditions, just a moment of thinking of the word meditate or meditation. And when it's right, should we talk about it or should we keep silent?
I think it's good to talk about it, Ajahn. It's important to have the right view, and because there's so many misunderstandings about this topic. So I think we need to hear it again and again because there are many certain points that need to be clarified.
And that's the meaning of good friend. The true friend, the real friend, not harm the other at all, just help them from danger. Great danger of ignorance and attachment and wrong understanding.
In the case of our friend who's been listening for some time, he might think that, okay, I know that it's not the right path to develop understanding of reality, but maybe somehow there's still the idea that there's something good that is brought about by those meditation retreats. So I think there's the lurking idea about something good is still there, and that needs to be clarified. Because sometimes
So what's the purpose of listening to the truth? Because at that moment it's not listening to the truth.
that's right, Ajahn.
And
Is it
she would answer, well, when going to a party or so on, it's still not discussing something good. But when one goes to the party, there's no illusion, there's no idea that there is anything about the right path being considered. One knows one's just going for fun. But when one goes for a meditation retreat, truthfully, isn't there the idea that this will bring forward one's development of awareness and concentration and bring particular results? That's the point to consider. So it comes back to the motive. If one's just going for fun and just going to sleep better, just following one's loba, okay, then it's just like going to a party or turning on the TV now. But is there an idea that somehow something should be done to speed up the awareness and concentration now?
So what does it mean, meditation?
It's not understanding, Ajahn.
So no shame of not understanding the truth of that moment, of now. That's why Buddha taught about the truth, hiri and ottappa, deeper and deeper. Condition more and more, understanding, even so very little, is so precious, because without that very moment, how can there be more? But when there's none, how can there be moment of great understanding of the truth? If it's not the path, why not develop the understanding from hearing, considering, naturally, by conditions? Otherwise, it's not by conditions, it's by ignorance. Even its condition is conditioned by ignorance and attachment to the result. So, what is the benefit of wrong understanding?
There's no benefit. It's danger.
The understanding what is meant by danger and hiri and ottappa and ahirika and ottappa. Daily life. No one. By condition, the upanishya, pachya, a little more, a little more, a little more, until it becomes habit. quite strong. When it's more and more. Not understand the word of the teachings of the enlightenment, what is meant by right understanding, what is meant by Dhamma, what is meant by Anatta. So is it time to be good friend?
When can be the time for you to be good friend? And by condition. It takes time to really see that speaking about the truth is actually being good friend, because usually the truth is not easy to be accepted.
It doesn't matter, but the truth is the truth. What's wrong? When it's right, should it be shared? Should it be known at suitable time? For example, discussion of the truth. It's not talk show, or it's not the magician play of tricks or whatever. It's so true. It's so deep. If it hasn't begun yet, when will it develop? Or when will it be there? While one has wrong understanding each day, day to day, on and on. That's why no expectation for anyone to get it or not to get it, but the truth is the truth, and it should be shared because it's so very precious, more than any kind of gift at all.
Just on that point, Ajahn, I know it's getting a lot late, but sometimes the Buddha did not speak because he knew that it wouldn't be appreciated by the listener. So even when people asked him, sometimes he remained silent. It's not always easy, I don't believe, to know when is the right time. You know, he talked about knowing the right time, of course, but sometimes some people, they will distort whatever you say, and because of their own attachment and their own views.
What about Dhamma discussion? Is it time?
Yes, certainly, Ajahn Cup, certainly when there are people who are ready and willing to listen. And perhaps what my question is not particularly relevant because it's not what you may have been alluding to, but I'm just aware that sometimes, although there is perhaps a desire to share the Dhamma, and you know, because there is a sense of its benefits, some people are just not willing to listen.
So is it benefit to talk with those people who have no interest in understanding anything at all? Or who just cling to their own idea of that thing, that teacher and so on? It's useless. But when it's time for Dhamma discussion. Those who come to discuss, even we don't say we are ready to accept the truth, but why does one come to discuss on just the truth?
Yeah, that's clear in those situations, especially when people are perhaps making themselves available and they have some interest, even if it may be minimal, then it can be very appropriate to talk about the Dhamma.
And I think that very helpful question is asking about what is it. For example, if we use the term meditation, what is it? Can we ask?
Certainly, Tanajan, because it's it's almost become like a virus in today's world, and as we know, it's only an English word which means something like healing, but people connect it in some ways with what the Buddha taught. So
but it's not discussing on the term or the word, but we discuss on the truth of reality. When we have Dhamma discussion on Dhamma
True.
only.
That's true, Tanajan.
Good friend, when there is Dhamma discussion, to know what is true and what is false. What is the Buddha of the teaching? Can it be carefully considered? Each word is true or not? About now, what is there? Because there is now, so what is it? The Buddha taught everything about the truth, the reality to be known, to realize the truth, not just talk about it without the way to realize the truth. And the way is not attachment or ignorance at all. Sammaditi, right understanding of the truth of what is there as it is. Anyone can consider. For example, if there's no understanding of what is there now, thinking about the past or the future to be known, impossible. The past gone and the future hasn't come yet, but no understanding of what is there now. So how there can be any understanding of any moment?
Yeah, true, Tanajan. Yeah, I certainly hear what you say, and I am aware too that others don't seem to be able or even willing sometimes to consider those points that you have just made because of their attachments to doing something, whatever that may be.
So am I not good friend talking about the truth? Because we can discuss on that subject. What is true? What is the truth of what is there now? Does anyone know? And what is known, is it true or false? There must be a reality, the reality which experiences the object. Otherwise, what is there? How can it be known? It's taken for something just instantly, not thinking about it's not there before it arises, and it's gone when it's gone, fallen away.
Mm-hmm. I
I
agree,
think
Tanajan.
we better continue this discussion next time. We can continue tomorrow too in the English discussion, if anyone would like to join.
Thank you so much, Ajahn and Shira, and I can see Jonathan. Hope you will get well soon.
Thanks very much, Dhamma.